There is a recommendation in relation to it, but I'd just like to note, just give me a second, Councillor Young, if you would. I'm happy to take your motion, but I just want to note that due to the technical issues we have with live streaming and officers on Teams, any questions for Ms. Tuck will be taken on notice and responded to out of session. Now, Councillor Young, I'll take your motion.
I move that Council receives and notes the financial reports as attached to this report for the period ending 30 April 2026.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Edwards. Councillor Young, do you wish to speak to the motion?
I have nothing to add.
Thank you. Speaker for, against. Questions, Councillor Deputy Mayor Simons?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, through you, and I understand this will be taken down. I just have a question if there's any mechanism or procedure that council can use to catch up on our budget, our CapEx budget, because we're well past halfway through the year, yet we've got a lot of our budget we haven't spent, and that seems to happen every year. I know it's difficult for procurement and all those reasons, but at some point in time, is there a way we catch up, or do we make an adjustment in our accounting method to reflect what's actually happening in that space? So that would be one question. And then the other question I had was just with our cash flow statements, we're up, what is it? It's not quite $3 million. We're up 21% on our cash flow amounts. And I'm wondering, is that because we haven't been spending what we've meant to, or is that because we've actually collected more in income than we anticipated? That's quite a jump, 20% of the
Mr. Shaw?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Simons. At a high level, in relation to the first question, I think in conversations I've had with the Director of Works and Infrastructure, Ron Sanderson, it's with him being new to council, I think Ron's already flagged that sometimes the capital works program for the council might be too ambitious. But we might actually be trying to deliver too much. And what that results in is, I guess, an underspend in the program. And the former Director of Corporate and Financial Services was also of the similar view that council shouldn't be in a position where it's underspent, and we should look to rationalise our capital works. Yeah, so I think that might be a bit of a informal policy position going forward for 26-27, that we really look to do the works that are absolutely necessary and within our means of delivering.
Yeah, that answers the question. Thank you.
Thank you.
And in relation to the second question, that was more around cash flow.
Yeah, just about the increase that this year's compared to last year.
I think that's probably just an artefact of the billing cycle.
Timing issue.
I think, yeah, so it was what I think we're about $1 million up on where we'd projected for the quarter. That's 20% better than what we had projected. So I expect that that'll resolve through natural billing cycle processes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Churchill, then Councillor Edwards. Sorry, Councillor Gregson. Sorry.
Just by follow-up to that, if you actually, I've had a look at these figures, and if you actually take out the out of the capital works budget, you remove the plant and equipment, which is 96% spent, then it makes the whole thing look even worse, as if we're really not getting there. So I think the Deputy Mayor's right. We do need to look at this both from a practical point of view in terms of expenditure, but also I think from the accounting point of view, it does. And I think there are processes that can manage that better, and so that our expenditure more aligns with what we should be expecting to do rather than what we should be expecting to spend. That's not really clear, I know, but I think you'll get the drift of what I'm trying to say.
I think we understand what you mean, Councillor Churchill. And Mr. Sanderson, would you like to join us so we can use the microphone and perhaps expand on Mr. Shaw's comment that you've been reviewing our ambitious programs?
Well, this year, the one we're in now, many things in the budget, there is no way that money would be spent in this financial year. Okay, so that's the start. I mean, good heavens, we didn't even go to tender for some of these things until recently, which is not right. So what we're doing now is you'll see on an agenda now, for example, just later, that we've gone up for a bridge that we won't start till next year, but we'll start bang on. So we're trying to do as many capital works quickly in the beginning of the year and get your tenders done before the financial year starts rather than halfway through. Okay, so it's planning is the problem. Not you're absolutely right. It's what do you plan to get done as opposed to just put money in the budget. Okay? Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Sanderson, you might stay there. Councillor Gregson might have a question that's better answered by yourself.
Thank you. When Mrs. Walters was discussing this, doing projects over 2 years, where it's impractical to do over one, surely that would ameliorate that problem.
Yeah, once again, plan to what you do, not and work in progress is carried on, is figured out at the end of the year. You're right. Those sort of things. For example, the grant we have for the $500,000 will be spent over 2.5 years, for example. So in the budget, you only put down what you anticipate to actually do in that financial year, not the budgeted amount, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions in relation to the financial report? Can I just clarify with those that ask questions, you have had sufficient answer
Yes,
to them?
very much so. Thank you.
Thank you. So there's no questions out of session for Ms. Tuck. Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? And carried unanimously. Agenda item 6 is the elder care minutes, February and April. There is a recommendation on page 18. Councillor Walker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll move that the minutes of the Elder Care Unit Committee held on February and April 2026 be received and noted.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Edwards, thank you. Councillor Walker, as the chair of that committee, would you like to add anything?
No, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions, Councillor Churchill?
Yeah, I just have a question. It appears to be right throughout this this report. There's no report received for all these actions that should be occurring, and it seems to have been over a very long period of time now, not just one between two meetings. So, is there any answer as to why this isn't in fact happening?
Councillor Walker, are you able to respond to that?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I can answer, but I don't want to say too much because I could incriminate. And
Take the pen.
but it's just been initially a couple of years ago. It was our committee was disbanded. We weren't disbanded, but it became very unstable, like from within the organisation, and we've been trying desperately to get it picked up again. So it has been the last 2, 3, 4 meetings or whatever. It has been very, very challenging to get information from within the organisation, as in our maintenance reports, our financial reports, and support from staff. So, but we are working together with our acting CEO in rectifying that, because it's quite an important little committee with a lot of dedicated. I mean, everyone's dedicated on there, but there is it shouldn't be dismissed, and that's how the committee has been feeling quite some time.
I think it's fair to say, Councillor Walker, if I may, that the changes in staff have created a lot of problems.
Absolutely.
In that area.
Yeah, and we've been mindful of that, but there comes a time when
It comes a time. Yes,
you know,
agreed.
enough.
Councillor Young.
Madam Mayor, can I ask Councillor Walker, when you say within, you mean within the Section 24 committee?
No, within the building.
You mean within
council, within the administrative arm,
Thank you
within
very
the.
much.
Though there's
That's
been
right.
a lot of changes.
I
in
wasn't
staff.
sure what you meant by within. Thank you.
I think Councillor Walker's made it quite clear that the committee is working with the current administration.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Um,
Sure.
Yeah, one of the good conversations that came out of the last meeting was the recognition of the scarcity of key reports, and we note the financial position of this Section 24 committee is really quite strong compared to all other committees. And the lack of financial reports does raise some concerns, and they're legitimate concerns. I took it on as a specific action, or
Yeah.
several specific actions to identify how we can ensure that all these missing reports are provided, and provided ahead of time, and that those reports can be generated and provided irrespective of who's in the seat.
Yep.
So we're trying to future-proof it, foolproof it, but yeah, we're very conscious of it.
Yeah.
And I suspect for the next elder care meeting, we'll have the right staff present, and we'll have all reports that actually backdate and take everything through.
And I, at the last meeting, Madam Mayor, you will see there are actions from the meeting that acting CEO is taking on, and the committee are grateful, and we only hope that we get it.
Thank you, councillor Walker. No other questions or comments, councillor Gregson?
I'd like to ask a question to Councillor Walker. Would you view your S24 committee as discombobulated?
What does discombobulated mean?
It's been
Confused.
and disordered.
No, absolutely not. No, it's a very good committee. Dedicated people on there. The committee works very well.
Right, it's just within the administration.
It's just the information has been lacking.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nothing further. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, those against, carried unanimously. Agenda item 7 is the information report. 7.1, the acting chief executive officer, Mr. Shaw. There is a recommendation on page 22. Councillor Walker.
Thank you. I'll move that the acting chief executive officer's information report for the month of April 2026 be received and noted.
Do I have a seconder? Seconder, councillor Edwards. Thank you. Councillor Walker, do you wish to ask?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Motion?
I'll just draw your attention to page 20 under community engagements. The team is currently exploring opportunities to improve engagement with young people and identify activities and support options for youth. Very pleasing to see this within the report. It's not only with youth, it's also with the seniors, because as I've said several times to councillors, is that this council seems to have dropped the ball on community, and it's really good to see that we are starting to make headways back into our communities.
Yeah.
Can I just add, councillor Walker, that yesterday I attended Swansea Primary School as part of this community engagement with the juniors, and to be in grade 4, 5, 6, and the questions they asked were probably a wee bit tougher than being in this chamber. They were very well informed on local government and the local area and council. But equally, they were incredibly respectful. I was very impressed with the way that student group. And after that, we have had a conversation. I had a conversation with our community development team. We're going to offer a similar thing to the other schools in the area.
That's good to hear.
Yes. So, and we've given the Swansea youth, or grade 4, 5, 6, a challenge to design a park, a playground that they would like to have. So it's something that. Well, Mr. Sanderson, the reason was that most of our playgrounds are designed by adults who don't get on the swings. So, in terms of the youth engagement, it was a really worthwhile exercise, and I congratulate our community development team for setting it up with Swansea Primary School after a request from their teacher.
And just one more thing,
Yes,
if I
of
may.
course.
Thank
Yes,
you,
sorry.
Madam Mayor. I find these reports very informative, and appreciate the work that goes into them. So thank you, Mr. Shaw.
Thank you. Councillor Edwards?
Yeah, I'll just like to add to, on the other end of the age scale, with the lunch with mates that happens at the RSL Club on Wednesdays at 12 o'clock. I would encourage any council officer of any level to go down there. You put a donation in the tin. When I was there a couple of weeks ago, there was 35 people, and it was just a fantastic opportunity to connect with some of the older members of the community and address their concerns. It's a terrific thing, and we should support that lunch with mates any way we can. Good thing.
Councillor Gregson?
Yes, I'd just like to concur with Councillor Edwards. I've also been down there on a few occasions. With regard to the community engagement with you, would it also be advisable, or for want of a better word, to have the municipality to go outside the municipality, so they're basically having a look at opportunities like theatre, music, even Mona, just to give them that different perspective instead of staying within the community.
Councillor Gregson, when we had our youth council in place, we did do that. We did bus trips to various things. I remember we took a group of, I think, grade 10 students into Hobart, just to show them around the city, because they were actually, most of them were going to high school, going to matriculation, whatever that's called these days. Matriculation probably shows my age. And so do higher education. So, and some of them hadn't had the opportunity to see how to catch a bus, for example. So it's all those things that we used to do. But as Councillor Walker rightfully identified, we have dropped the ball a wee bit on that. And so now this is starting to ramp up again.
Just and also through the mayor, I'd just like to ask the acting CEO when he sits down. Hello, Craigie No, Minnie and the Moonrakers.
I'm sorry.
As it's got here, Craigie No. It's got here, Minnie. It's on page 19. Dot point down near the bottom. Craigie No, free event. Minnie and the Moonrakers. What was that, please?
Thank you, through Madam Mayor, Councillor Gregson. That was an event that our community development team attended, so I don't have knowledge of that particular event.
Was it a band?
I would assume so.
Yeah, that's what
that vineyard is well known for having regular social enterprises.
Yeah, that's fine. And the Sorrow Field Day demonstrations, what was that in particular, please?
Again, these are community development activities, so I don't have I guess granular understanding of every activity performed by that team.
Right. And the third one is winter warm-up lunch, 11th of June, 26, 12:30. Could you expand on that, please?
Councillor Gregson, these activities are all performed by the community development team.
So is there someone who could answer those questions?
I can take, if you would really like to know exactly what each of these events are, I can take a question on notice.
Thank you.
And I can have our community development manager provide a response for you. Could you just confirm which ones you were interested in?
Yes, it's the winter warm-up lunch, 11th of June, 26. The Sorrow Field Day demonstration, and the Craigie No, Minnie and the Moonrakers. And my last question is, one minor incident. Could you expand on that, please, within Council Winfrey?
You're referring to page 22. One minor incident. Look,
Yes, please.
it was basically a trip incident.
Oh, that's it. So
As it says, it's one minor incident.
Yeah.
It was a trip incident, and it resulted in a personal injury, and that person was off work on workers' compensation for a period, and we've been managing them and that injury back through a formalised return to work program.
Oh,
So we've actually been doing a lot of work in that space now, and we're actually getting with our new health safety and wellbeing officer, and what we're seeing now is increased reporting, which is actually a really great thing. So staff having the confidence to report, knowing that information is going into a formalised system, and then us being able to support staff through a formal process to get them back to work in a safe way. It's actually a really great outcome.
that's right. So that's reflected in the two active works conversation.
Councillor Gregson, I've told you consistently, this is not a debate session. You need to ask a question.
So that's the question. Is this reflected in the two active works conversation places?
So going back to your question about some of the other there was something Craigie No free event and the like. That wasn't things that council or staff attended. If you read the report, it says communications and promotions. Council's Facebook page remains the most effective channel for community communication, and the notice boards are updated frequently. Topics featured throughout February include that list of items, and they are just simply our community engagement team and our promotions team working with the community to promote their event.
Just the people who may have missed it, may like some more information so they're ready to go. For instance, 11th of June 26, some people might be interested in that if it's applicable. So
what page is that, councillor?
21.
21, thank you.
Down the bottom.
encourage council staff to participate in our Turner winter warm-up lunch on the 11th of June at 12:30. Is that only internal, external?
It's that's an internal. That's internal. It's nothing to do. It's an internal matter for staff culture for this, if you like, effectively a social event for the internal staff for morale.
So it's got nothing to do with councils, is that correct?
No, that's correct.
Okay. Well,
Correct.
Yeah, no.
Thank you. Thank you, councillor Churchill.
Yeah, through you, I'd just like to ask the acting general manager. We now have a new full-time property and projects officer, and we still have this ongoing issue about Sherborne Road. I'm just wondering if that person will be able to schedule some work to be done in that space, because we really do need, this has been dragging on for many, many years, been kicked down the road many times, but we don't know anything about the issues surrounding it, the access, who's responsible, who's the ownership, where the road actually is. And I think it's been a thorn in our side, and communities certainly in that area are concerned about it, and I can see why. So it'd be just great if that could perhaps be tidied up, be moved on a little bit now that we seem to have the staff in place. That's my assumption, that we've got the staff in place to do it.
Councillor Churchill, if I may, I know there is in a DA that happened several years ago. There was a condition in relation to access to the graveyard on Sherborne Road. There's actually a condition which I think now may not be in play with the current owners there. So that probably just needs to be reviewed. I just can't. Councillor Walker, do you remember that particular matter, or?
I do remember it, but I don't remember the time. It
At
was
the
some
time,
time ago,
no,
but
thank
probably
you.
it would
No.
have to be over 8 years, well and truly over 8 years ago.
It would, yes, absolutely. Councillor Gregson, can I just go back to your question about the council, the winter warm-up lunch? I understand that some staff members have started this process in that they will be bringing their favourite dish into the lunchroom and encouraging other members of the staff to join them for an internal lunch. It's simply, I think that's, Ms. Tyler-Moore, I think I've summed that up reasonably well. Thank you. Thank you very much. If there's nothing further on the acting chief executive officer's report, I will put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Agenda item 7.2 is the Director of Works and Infrastructure, Mr. Sanderson's report. Mr. Sanderson, if you'd care to join us. There is a recommendation on page 26. Councillor Walker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the Director of Works and Infrastructure Information Report for the month of April 2026 be received and noted.
Thank you. Seconder. Gregson, thank you. Councillor Walker, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've got a couple of questions. So, or statements.
Okay.
Mr. Sanderson can answer as he wishes, so to speak. On page 23, under roads, bridges, footpaths and curbs, the second dot point from the bottom, bushfire at McNeil's Road, road inspection, replacement of damaged guide post and damaged tree removal before road reopening, complete. With regards to that bushfire, it's been espoused that it was the cause was the dumping of rubbish. Would that be sort of correctish? And then,
If I may, Mr. Sanderson, I believe so, councillor Walker, I believe that it's been identified that there was some illegal dumping and the rubbish was burnt.
We have no official knowledge of that. That's
Yeah.
just rumors, hearsay. Yes, that's what we
Yeah.
understand, but there's nothing official that I'm aware of.
so what are we doing, Locke, what is council doing in regards to the illegal dumping of rubbish? And bearing in mind that it's not just McNeil's Road.
All we can do and all that usually happens is we identify the perpetrator and advise EPA. We have it's Environmental Protection Agency's responsibility to charge. Police also get involved, but they handball it immediately to the EPA as well.
Okay, thank you for that. Under waste management, so we've got the new fence at Orford and there's one being erected at Bicheno. There's been a lot of interest generated over the fact that you've got to fence the entrance to a waste transfer, i.e. the tip. Could you please explain why?
I think I believe I sent out an email, but if not, I'll.
You did,
okay.
but I think the community
okay.
here, yeah.
Well, we didn't want to actually make a big deal of it because then people realize, oh, we've got things to steal in there. That's a good idea.
Mm.
But no, we lost many batteries and they're worth a bit of money each, I understand. We also, there's someone getting petrol out of a backhoe there. They have people that are looking for copper. We definitely don't want people scrounging and climbing all over the scrap metal yard for a lot of reasons, obviously.
Mm.
And it's basically about theft and to keep the bad guys out, and basically that's it. And sure, it's not bulletproof, but it's better than a boom gate.
Yes. Yeah, oh, absolutely, totally agree. And it's a sad state of affairs when you've got a fence off the tip.
Yeah, it's because there are valuable things.
Absolutely, yeah, that's right. And also on page 24, second dot point at the top, bulk skip bins at Buckland removed due to ongoing user abuse, and that's been completed. How's this been received by the community of Buckland?
I think that there was an initial, I know of one response initially, and just recently someone's offered to do some monitoring in that, but that wouldn't do any good. I mean, this is just people using it as a tip, basically, with absolutely no control whatsoever.
Mm. Yeah, no, it was disgraceful.
Yeah, it's not we just can't do it, and it's not an official transfer station either. So it's sort of caught in between, just a nice thing to do and something that's just a waste of time and money, basically.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, councillor Gregson, then councillor Edwards.
Through the mayor, I'd just like to address Mr. Sanderson. In your last report of April 26th, our OCM, to a question on notice regarding the locked padlock at the Swansea Oval, have you heard any report back from it?
No,
When would you have an answer?
I'll have one for you in 2 days' time.
Thank you. And the second, very briefly, Harold Street Reserve, I assume that's in Colesville.
Yes.
Yeah. Could that be reflected in the report, please?
Sorry, what was that?
It's got Harold Street Reserve, but it doesn't say where it is, so
Fair
people
enough.
read in the minutes.
Yeah.
Well, no, instantly it's Colesville.
Page 25, it does.
Yes, I know, but before that, it doesn't.
Councillor Edwards.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Harold Street Reserve, the point in talking about at Coles Bay. Really pleased to see the work getting underway installing the Blackwater station, which has been wanted for an awfully long time. And the residents I speak to up there will be ecstatic because the side of the road was used previously by many a camper. So to all those concerned in council who have pushed that and got that going, because I tried and failed previously. So congratulations and well done. It's be a huge thing for Coles Bay. There was one other thing, but I forgot what it was. So that was the main one.
We're just waiting on the fresh water to be, or the water to be piped into that, and a switch, an automatic switch for that flag.
Yeah.
To be commissioned, yeah.
I found the second one. The slashing at the Reader and Doris Reserve and Harold Street Reserve, is that gone without undue complication from
Well,
others?
we've only done it on the Rita and Doris, I think that's the name, the one that council owns. That has been done. We had permission from the Crown to do the Harold Street one now. We had an extension. It was supposed to be done by, I've forgotten now, but we've got a 6 month extension. So
Yeah.
well, that's in the budget. So we'd do that in the new year.
Thank you, councillor Young.
Madam Mayor, if I could ask Mr. Sanderson 2 questions. The first is the bridge repair, overflow repair on Wylangta Road between the junction of Rebben Road and the junction of Earlham Road. There's works underway in a very low-lying area, and it looks as if in the next few days there's going to be a very large downpour. In fact, there is flood warning for some parts of this municipality from Bureau of Meteorology. When is it likely that that work with the bypass, which is likely to run through a creek, going to be finished, do you think?
The bracing for the concrete head walls has been removed today. The formwork should have been removed. Tomorrow was supposed to be starting to build up the road, but if it's raining, we won't be. So as soon as the rain stops, the road will be built up and reopened. There's no, the bypass should be okay for this term.
The second thing was the question of rubbish. Under Section 20 of the Local Government Act, which deals with the powers of the council. In addition to any functions of council, in this act or any other act, the council has the following functions: to provide for the health, safety and welfare of the community, and to provide for the peace, order and good government of the municipal area. I would like council to get some formal advice, not 500 pages in response, but a one letter advice from a lawyer to say whether that includes the power to prosecute anyone for illegal dumping or starting fires in our municipality, whether it be for the purposes of burning items of rubbish so the person effecting the dumping can't be identified from some of the rubbish left behind, because that may assist some of those people that own property in the Swansea area that is used for this illegal dumping, and apparently the dumpers start fires. And there was one big bushfire in that area. And if we can ascertain that, or even just write a letter to the offender, if we're able to find out, even if it be second hearsay, saying we're advised that X, Y, Z, we hereby give you notice under Section 20 of the Act, we can prosecute for these sort of things. And I'm not quite done to it again, but something along that line, because it might assist the widow that lives in that area that's terrified by bushfire entering her property.
Councillor Young, can I just add to that, if I may, Mr. Sanderson? A number of years ago, we actually did investigate something similar And it was in relation to clearing of trees and clearing of land in front of houses, so that the owners of the house had a better view. It was clearly not allowed. The advice we received was that for any action to be successful, we would require time-dated photographs of the perpetrators. So it's not, whilst it's in the Act, and I take your point, it's in the Act, it does require an awful lot of evidence to actually initiate any sort of proceedings.
That would be correct based on my years as a lawyer, if we're going to sue or prosecute. But a letter of warning could be written with authority, relying on Section 20, and it might prevent further action.
Thank you.
It might not, but it might.
If I may, I've been involved in this obviously in the past with cameras, with notices, with knowing who's done it. As the mayor has just said, it's very difficult to get it done. And which act is it? There are different acts that are involved. Certainly not that one. You wouldn't use that one. But it's really a tough one. The police dodge it. It's a lot of work for very little. EPA is too busy. We can follow up what you're saying. What can we do? That's a decent question. Yes, there might be a letter or something, but whether it works or not is a different matter. But we can follow it up.
Traffic signs sometimes illegally work.
Mr. Shaw, then did I miss you, Councillor?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're right.
Just one quick statement in that. I think education has a large role to play here. So, and that can be done quite cheaply and quite an affordable exercise. So we should actually be trying to work on preventative measures as opposed to punitive enforcement. So that's something I think we can look at any stage is how can we be out there proactively educating the community about what's right and what's wrong. So
Get the children involved.
that's right. So that's
Terrific. Do you have something else?
Yeah, I actually don't agree with acting chief executive. Because you can't educate a twit. Surely you know if you've got a ute full of rubbish, you don't take it up. I see them driving. I saw one last week driving past with an empty fridge upside down on the back of their ute, rubbish in the back of it, heading up Malanka Road. I wonder where they were going with an empty fridge full of rubbish to dump it in the bush. So we need to jump on them with a ton of bricks and fine them $5,000. It's just ludicrous, and you could educate that person till you were blue in the face, and they'd do it tomorrow. If you don't know by now, you don't chuck rubbish about. Well, you're excuse my French, bloody idiot. Simple as that.
Thank you. Any other questions, Councillor Churchill?
I don't wish to linger on this one, but the community up there who were involved in this last fire on McNeil's Road, they apparently are currently working with TFS to try to get something organised, and I believe that we will be brought into that discussion. I don't know whether the acting general manager is aware of that, but apparently this is what is planned to happen. We know that these things move at glacial speed, but hopefully if it can happen, there might be some good outcomes to that one, because the site itself is practical to do things like a boom gate or cameras and the like, because there's not a lot of people live up there. So there is, and that's probably exactly the reason that it's used so frequently for dumping. So there's possibilities around that are already being discussed, and hopefully we will get involved in that, because I think we've got some expertise that can help us.
Thank you.
Help them.
Anything further? Mr. Sanderson, nothing further. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Agenda item 7.4 is the Acting Director of Planning and Development, Mr. Tyler Moore. Would you care to join us? Thank you for the microphone. Appreciated. There is a recommendation on page 29. It says, Councillor Edwards.
I'd like to move that we accept that the Acting Director Planning and Development's information report for the month of April 2026 be received and noted.
Is there a seconder, please? Councillor Churchill, thank you. Councillor Edwards, do you have any questions?
No.
Thank you. Councillor Churchill.
Yes, if I may, Mayor, it's just around the animal control compliance and this process that's been underway now for several years to try to get our dog management policy in place. And we know and understand it's been held up by powers out of our control. But I believe that working group did put a lot of effort into that. And I'm just wondering, as part of that process, is it right for this document to go, or is it happening, in fact, that I'm probably not aware of? Is it right for this report now from Parks to go back to that working group before it goes to public, community consultation? Or does it work the other way around? Because I would have thought that group should have had access to what is coming from Parks.
Mr. Shaw.
Thank you, through Madam Mayor. Thanks, Councillor Churchill. Yeah, this matter was addressed previously with former Acting Director James Bonner, and the advice provided at that stage was that it was considered to be the most expedient process to close out this matter was to take the draft report presented to Council, and through Council seek to have that on public display. And then the group that was engaged to develop the draft would have the capacity to provide feedback into the process, the same as every other member of the community. And by doing that, we can close out that task sooner. So I don't think there's a change in position at this point in time.
Okay, now as long as that working group isn't cut out of it because it just makes them feel disconnected from the whole process, and I don't think that's the way to manage.
Noted. Thank you, Councillor Churchill.
Councillor Gregson.
Through the Mayor, I'd like to ask a couple of questions to Tyler Moore. Short stay accommodation dashboard. Could you tell me where and how it is located, please, as on page 28, please?
Through you, Mayor, the dashboard is a state government initiative provided by them. It's available through the CBOS website, which is the consumer building group that does that. I believe there was a hyperlink provided in the council report, and if not, I'm happy to circulate that to councillors for that information.
Thank you. And the second one is updating council leases and licence register, foreshore and boathouse arrangements. Could you expand on that and give me examples of what that exactly means, please?
What page and what was the question? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I only got my hard copy here only this morning, but I did read it online.
What was the question in relating to council?
Yes, it was to do updating council lease and license register, and in particular foreshore and boathouse arrangements and examples. It was here.
Ms. Tyler, is this something that the
29.
acting CEO should deal with, or are you happy to?
Oh, it's in the
Yes.
report.
All right.
Here.
Thank you, Councillor Gregson. The acting CEO will deal with that
Right, thank you.
question. Thank you.
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor. Thanks, Councillor Gregson, for the question. Yes, it's been recognised that these types of leases are probably some of our most out of date and uncontemporary, and this isn't a problem unique to this council as well. So the former officer, Kerry Kempnich, she had identified this as a priority for that role. So now with our new officer, Sam Ahmed, in that role, again, we're looking to tackle this one. So,
is there any examples you can give?
There's multiple. These types of leases are quite numerous, especially in coastal communities and municipalities such as ours. And I guess it's through no fault necessarily of council. These are Crown lease documents, and a lot of the time those get carried over so they expire, and many of them have been expired and carry over and hold over provisions for a number of years. So I guess there'll be genuine interest from us and Crown Law to contemporise those and get a more consistent lease document.
And that's fine. So would you have the scenario where the Crown lease has expired, but a building is still on that?
Councillor Gregson, that's a difficult question to answer because as Mr Shaw has already stated, there are a number of Crown land leases that they're currently dealing with, one of which I am aware was actually initiated by the old Glamorgan Council, and it has just been carried over into the current council amalgamated. So some of those Crown land leases are 40 and 50 years old.
Yeah.
That's why the staff are going through them. So they're not going to be able to give you any detail in this.
Oh, no, I didn't want to detail. It was just an example.
That example is detail, Councillor Gregson. So that they will not be able to provide that for you in this forum.
Just for you, I've got another question. Property inspections, condition and compliance, council-owned assets. Could you expand on that, please? And an example, if applicable, please.
Ms. Tullamore, you can expand on it, but I don't know that giving an example is appropriate. So if you would like to expand on it.
Through you, Mayor, those inspections undertaken because there's a number of buildings that might be in disrepair or need updating. We need to know their condition. We're also considering the leases that go with those. So it's quite a large job. In fact, there's a lot of large jobs for the property officer, so please don't get too ahead of yourselves because I can't tell you how many things are landing on their desk. It's an important thing to do. It's just basically asset management, and if there's an asset register, to include them in that.
That's one last question. Is property governance functions. What do you mean by that?
No, Councillor Gregson, please speak to the microphone. And speak. You ask your question through me.
Yeah, through the mayor. I'd like to ask a question either to the acting CEO or the acting planning officer. Property governance functions. Could you explain or expand on what exactly that means, please?
Mr. Shaw, do you have an answer for that one?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Gregson. Probably using more complex words than what's needed, but effectively it's just referring to standard practice in terms of our standard asset management practices. So we have a range of, I guess, leases and licenses that are continually up for review. We have council-owned properties that are private rentals. So the term there, when it's talking about property governance functions, it's literally us just saying, look, we need to look at each asset on its own merit and understand the process in which it is governed and administered, and work out if that's an appropriate match for that asset.
All right. I don't think that's
Councillor Young.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to just ask a question, I suppose. Have you been apprised of the fact that council hired a gentleman called Vince Butler about 5 years ago who did a complete analysis, he thought, of the properties owned by this council and their titles and details. If you are aware of it, will you be taking it into account in preparing, I suppose, we could call it the register? And one other question. Are you aware that in order for a lease to benefit us, it does not have to be a holding over clause? There's a presumption of law in various ways that you cannot be kicked off just because the lease has ended. You have to still receive, you still have to receive notice, and the notice has various terms in it that arise from a presumption of law. And there are another series of benefits to council, which you may not be aware of.
Councillor Young, can I interrupt you there? You're actually introducing new information into Ms. Tullamore's report. and offering advice in relation to it.
Well, I was asking a question. Are you
I'm sure you
aware
were.
of those things when you're preparing the register?
Mr. Tullamore, thank you.
Through you, Mayor, in answer to the first question, yes, of course, we always look at the history and the records held by council.
Just say it slowly, please.
Sorry. Yes, as part of any research, we will always look at council records that exist. So if there is a previous report, we would have a look at that. We don't look to create more work than necessary. So we would look at it, but it may need updating. So it's important to be open-minded about the data. Secondly, yes, we are familiar with some of the regulations and laws for rentals. We're fortunate that our property service officer does have some background in real estate. So that's an advantage. If we were unsure, then of course we would seek appropriate advice.
Thank you, Ms. Tullamore. Thank you. Any other questions? Ms. Councillor Walker?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you to Ms. Tullamore. Sounds like I'm speaking to someone famous.
You are.
Yes, during the, under planning on page 28, under planning, we don't get a lot of planning at the moment. We haven't had some for quite some time. And that's because if there's no more than 2 representations, it doesn't come here. But generally speaking, if there is an application that receives a representation against it, what are the concerns? Like, are they just the regular concerns of people, or yeah.
Through you, Mayor.
Yes, of course. Sorry.
Through you, Mayor, the representations, to be fair, I've been here 3 weeks, so I haven't read too many of the reports with representations. Perhaps it could be seen as we're fortunate that the public are happy with the plans that presented, or consultation with the planners that provide that advice to residents, which is a really good service for them to understand. My experience planning, people can put representations about all sorts of matters. But some of those are not related to planning. So when it's considered by the planning authority, whether that be the full council or the planning officer, it must have regard to that, but it can only relate to matters that are tied to the scheme. And often if it's quite far off the mark, then officers may contact those representatives to explain to them, we hear what you've said, we can see what it is, but under the provisions of the scheme, we can't make a decision based on that.
Yep.
But yeah, the breadth of things people put representations in is quite large, but obviously very typically things like overshadowing, overlooking, concerns about activities associated with things like visitor accommodation or businesses and commercial uses.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nothing. Yeah.
So just
Do you have
like
any
to comment
response?
that it potentially shows that our planning department is actually working really well.
It does.
Because it means the applications that are coming are building correctly and there's been conversations.
Mr. Shaw?
Through Madam Mayor, one quick comment. So whilst we've got that threshold of 2 representations or more, council, the administration will always manage up a DA where we think the councillors will have an interest, or where it's just because it hasn't been representations doesn't mean that there's not necessarily a degree of community interest that we think is of interest and relevant to put to the elected members. So whilst it's a trigger, it's not the only means that we use to determine how we have it approved.
Yes. And Councillor Walker, if I may, I think that's in the policy in relation to these 2 representations that we did, or in the delegation or something like that, that if a matter was thought to be controversial or quite controversial, shall we say, then it has to come to the council table. So, yeah.
If I may, the reason why I asked the question is, like we haven't had planning authority, haven't stepped into planning authority for quite some time, and I just was asking the question so that people who are possibly watching or listening are aware that we still are doing what we're supposed to do.
And we do best.
Yeah, we do it well.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Agenda item 7.4. Thank you, Ms. Tullamore.
Thank you.
Is the Acting Director of Corporate Financial Services report It is a recommendation on page 31, noting again that any questions will be taken on notice for Ms. Tuck.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll move that the Director of Corporate and Financial Services Information Report for the month of April 2026 be received and noted.
Who is the seconder? Councillor Gregson, thank you. Deputy Mayor, do you have a comment, question?
No.
Nothing. Councillor Gregson? No. Any questions or comments? Nothing further? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? That'll be in, no, that's okay. It's fine. It's recorded. It's noted in the minutes, so.
Yeah.
Agenda item 8 is the officer's report requiring a decision. 8.1 is the draft fees and charges for 2026-27. There is a recommendation on page 33. And noting again that any questions from this type will be taken on notice. And noting that we have already workshopped this. Deputy Mayor?
I'll move that council receive and adopt the draft fees and charges register in attachment 1 to this report for the 2026-2027 financial year.
Is there a seconder? Councillor Gregson, Deputy Mayor?
No.
Just wait, ask questions? Nothing, Deputy Mayor?
No,
No,
mate,
thank
sorry.
Thank you, councillor Gregson.
I've just through the mayor, just like to comment that we have workshopped this draft fees and charges. So I've got no more to comment on that. Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Item 8.2 is the event support grant application for Tribunna Football Club. Councillor Edwards has declared an interest in this matter. He's leaving the room. There is a recommendation on page 38. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Simons.
I'll move the council approve the event support grant application for $2,000 submitted by Tribunna Football Club Incorporated to support the delivery of the Football Back to Swansea event.
Thank you. Seconded, councillor Walker. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Spector.
Yeah, I think it's just a great initiative by Tribunna Footy Club, and I think Swansea's going to benefit from this happening, and I think it's just a really good thing to be doing.
Councillor Walker.
Yes, I'd just like to concur with councillor Simons with regards to this. And I do believe there's quite a bit of work going into it, and I do also believe that council is being supportive of council administration being supportive of this.
Thank you. Any other question, councillor Gregson?
Yes, I'd like to support the grant application. But really a collaboration between the Tribunna Football Club and the few members of the Swansea community to bring all this together. So I'd like to congratulate all parties for organising this event. Good.
Thank you. Nothing further. I'll put them out. Oh, councillor Young, sorry.
I'd just like to ask you, Madam Mayor, are there enough people young enough to play football in Swansea, that live in Swansea?
I believe so, councillor Young. Sorry. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, those against, carried unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Sanderson.
Down the other end.
I'm jobbing you that
Thank you, councillor Edwards. Thank you.
Yeah, we're going.
Councillor Gregson, please. We are in a formal meeting.
That's all right. That's fine.
Councillor Edwards, thank you for your interest in this matter. Council has unanimously agreed to support the event.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Agenda item 8.3 is an event support grant application for Visiono Beams. It is a recommendation, I believe, on page 43. Councillor Walker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll move that council approve the event support grant application for $2,000 submitted by Visiono Community Development Association Subcommittee, Visiono Beams, to support the delivery of the Bicheno beams.
Councillor Young, I think, was trying to move the motion.
I'll second, Madam Mayor, if that's all right, if I'm allowed to.
Thank you. Councillor Walker, do you want to?
Oh, just, yes, Madam Mayor, if I may, a very popular and worthwhile, event, for Bicheno and the community, and, good on them for keeping it going.
Understand that it also brings significant financial input to the local businesses, so that's good. Deputy Mayor, do you
I was
comment?
just going to comment, just for people that might watch this and perhaps councillors, it attracts about 13,000 people over a 4-week period to Bicheno. It is just a wonderful thing in the middle of winter. It ups the visitation rate to Bicheno no end, and a contribution of a couple of $1,000 from council. It's absolutely paid back.
Yeah,
For the
very.
economic drivers it creates.
Very worthwhile. Councillor Gregson?
Right, yes, I'd like to support or concur through the mayor. Deputy Mayor's comments, it's a wonderful boost for Bicheno during the winter hiatus. And also, I was just wondering, I'd like to direct the question to the Deputy Mayor. Are the two soundtracks and the laser shows, are they different from last year's or the years before?
Councillor Gregson, that's not relevant
Oh, no,
for this decision. It is introducing further information into the discussion, which the Deputy Mayor may not be able to answer, so I'm not going to allow that question.
Look, firstly, I can say that I'm not involved in the organisation of the event, but I can speak to you after the meeting.
All right.
If you've got knowledge, I do know.
If there's nothing further on agenda item 8.3, I will put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Agenda item 9 on page 44 is a notice of motion from Councillor Churchill. Councillor Churchill, would you care to put your motion?
I move that any council grant with a value of over $10,000 must involve appropriate due diligence and transparency, including a robust needs-based assessment that involves review of an entity's relevant financials, the opportunity to apply for the grant to be made available to all like entities or individuals in the municipality, and must be considered in open session of council, with any key confidential information managed by way of related redaction to ensure appropriate ratepayer transparency and confidence.
Is there a seconder? Councillor Gregson. Councillor Churchill, would you like to speak to the motion? Your motion?
Yes, I would. Thank you, Mayor. This item's been seen by everyone on at least 3 occasions now before it's come to council to be considered. And it's pretty self-evident that the content of what it is and what I'm trying to do here. I know these grants don't often occur, but I was wondering if I could just ask a question of the acting general manager through you. Have there been any grants or allocations in terms of any other entity you like? For example, the provision of equipment or anything like that to larger than $10,000 since you've been on council?
Sure, you have a chance for that.
Thanks through you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Church, for the question. Off the top of my head, Councillor, I don't recall there being such, but I'm happy to consider that question out of session so I can provide you with a factual response. I know one of the grant applications that was put before council in early planning was the Eco Festival, where they were looking to increase grant funding from 2 up to 10,000. But I know that this motion talks about grants in excess of $10,000, so therefore that one wouldn't be considered. Okay, but fundamentally, I really do thank you for the motion. I think it's a really interesting point. It's a valid point, and if there's any opportunity for council to develop or improve processes around scrutiny and transparency of grant funding, I think there'll be a lot of support and interest from the executive and the administration.
Thank you for that. That's exactly what it's all about. We faced a situation a few years ago where this sort of thing might have occurred, and we did get advice that perhaps the legislation didn't allow for it, or that we were stepping outside of the legislation. So I just wanted to formalise it to bring it to the attention of council and community. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Councillor Churchill? Councillor Gregson, then Councillor Edwards.
Thank you. Yes, I would firstly like to agree and concur with Councillor Churchill's comments.
Councillor Gregson, would you please?
Churchill's comments.
Thank you.
Yeah, fine. The considered motion, and it encourages openness, transparency, and it does really incorporate a legal aspect that may be illegal. So this would be basically clearing that up and making it open and clear exactly what council are doing, and not going into the dark side of illegality. So this would open it up and make it very clear and transparent. So thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor?
Was there anyone else?
Oh, Councillor Edwards, sorry,
Yeah,
yes, he was.
All I was going to say was, if in 5 years' time, will we need another motion to raise the 10,000, or can we put some sort of CPI type thing on it, or just leave it at 10,000 for now? Change it later if we need to.
I think the response from the acting chief executive officer does indicate that they are going to look at the new draft policies. That may be something that could be included in the policy for time, but bear in mind that policies have to be reviewed every 4 years, I think. Every 4 years, or at other times as needed. But 4 years, which coincides with the council or election period, I believe. Yes. Deputy Mayor, sorry.
Look, I think it's a really good conversation starter that Councillor Churchill's brought up here. There's a couple of things, just looking at the response from the acting chief executive officer, that I will want to wait and see before I actually support that set of wording, and it's more around the legal implications. Is there some commercial in confidence issues that we might have to face and write into this piece of work? So on that basis, I want to see that work brought to council and have the intent of what Councillor Churchill is saying brought to us as an option A and B, and refine it so it is fit for purpose.
Councillor Young?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to move a procedural motion that the decision on this motion be adjourned until the next council meeting to give an opportunity to the valid points raised by the Deputy Mayor and Councillor Edwards. My inclination is to support this
Councillor,
motion.
you can only move the procedural motion, can only say that you are moving a procedural motion that the matter be adjourned. That's it.
I'm moving a procedural motion that the matter be adjourned to next meeting.
I need a seconder. It will lapse for the want of a seconder, and the matter will need to be dealt with today. So it's lapsed. Your procedural motion has lapsed for the one. Right. Thank you. So your procedural motion has lapsed for the want of a seconder, Councillor Young.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Sorry, did I miss?
Yeah, I was just going to ask when the report may be available, because if it's available within a month, I will support Councillor Young's motion.
I've already declared that one lost though for the want of a seconder, Councillor Edwards. So we're back to the discussion on this motion. Mr. Shaw, you can provide some timelines for the policy, I take it?
I can provide some general comments through you, Madam Mayor.
That's right.
I guess what I would like just to commit to elected members today that obviously as we go through a redrafting of the existing policy, or in fact new policy, we will take it to a council workshop. For that to be workshopped and then only presented to council when we think we're in a firm position. The reason why this has been delayed, one, we had administrative errors in previous two council agendas, which is we've tidied up today. But the lead person for this was also on extended annual leave as well. So we had a key person dependency that was unavailable. That person is now back on, and so this project and this review process can be picked back up again. In relation to the procedural motion that wasn't carried, I doubt the administration will be in a position within 1 month to be able to present an informed position or revised policy to council.
I think, and if I may, I think the intent of the motion indicates what is expected in the policy. Have I got that right? So for me, I don't see the need to adjourn it again because we have the opportunity to put this to the council for the officers to action at some future time.
Madam Mayor, is the procedural motion lost?
It is, councillor, because
Thank you.
it was lost for
Thank you.
seconder. Thank you. So if there's no, councillor Churchill, do you wish to close debate on this or?
Yes, I did. I just want to make a closing statement.
Sure.
The response from the acting chief executive officer is not part of the motion and
No.
should not be part of the motion. The content of that wasn't designed to be dealt with in that way. What I'm talking about here is not really the small grants or the event grants policy. I don't mind if ultimately that all is brought together, but under the local government meeting procedures, a response in this situation is not required and it is not part of the motion.
No.
I just want to make that point.
Understand that.
It's a
councillor.
governance issue.
Understand that, councillor.
Thank
you. So if there's nothing further, councillor Churchill has closed debate. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Councillor Deputy Mayor Simons and Councillor Edwards are against. The motion is carried. Thank you. Thank you, councillors. Agenda item 10 is the petitions, of which there are nil. Questions taken on notice from the previous meeting. It's now on page 46. Oh. Yes, so there was a question on notice from Councillor Gregson and the response is there. Councillor Gregson. Agenda item 11.2 is question. There are nil questions with notice. 11.3 questions without notice from councillors. Councillor Walker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just wondering if I may ask you the question through you to Acting CEO. When a statement's coming back onto the agenda, I think it's not a grandstanding opportunity, but it is a good idea to be able to make a general statement about a community event, such as what I've just been part of, just to let the whole community know what's been going on within the community. It's not necessarily about grandstanding or making a political point or whatever. It's just, it'd be nice to be able to have, because you can't make a statement within a question. And so that to me it's sort of stifled what we as councillors can and cannot do within this forum.
Councillor Walker, the agenda, as you know, has been in this format for a number of years.
Yes.
And it is past time that we had a more contemporary agenda. So your question should be answered in that review of the agenda, which councillors will be shown a draft and able to make comment around it probably it's something that'll be workshopped. Having said that, it is not something that's been high on the to-do list because our staff have been inundated with other matters to deal with.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I completely understand that.
Anything else, councillor Gregson?
I don't know whether to my eyesight or not, but outside the council chambers here, is the Aboriginal flag flying?
Is what, sorry?
Is the Aboriginal flag flying? outside
Probably.
the council?
At the moment.
No, it hasn't been for some months. Is there any reason why? It's
What
not
do you mean,
flying?
the original flag?
No,
Aboriginal.
the Aboriginal flag.
Oh, the Aboriginal flag, sorry. No, not that I'm aware of. No reason that I'm aware of. We have it in this chamber. I'm not aware of any reason for it to be taken down outside. Councillor Walker?
Can I?
Yes, by all means.
Usually there's the Australian flag and the council flag. There's only two flag poles.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Could I,
And if I may, councillor Gregson, we do fly other flags for other events, for example, National First Nations Week or
NAIDOC.
NAIDOC, that's it, yeah, for NAIDOC Week. So we do fly other flags for certain events.
Right. So in that, I'll just ask another question with regard to that. Will council consider a third flagpole for the First Nations?
That's something that we'll have to look at in future times.
Yes, okay, thank you. And my second question is, this is to do with McNeil's Road, Swansea, with
The what,
regard
sorry?
McNeil's Road fire
Yes.
at Swansea on Anzac Day. A number of members of the community affected by that fire would like council to write to the Tasmanian Fire Service and request a transcript. Would the council be agreeable to that, please?
Why?
Well, they've just asked me to ask the question
A transcript of what?
of the event. I don't know what it means, but that's what I've been told to ask.
It's news to me too. I chair the Municipal Emergency Management Committee,
Yes.
and even with our massive fires that we've had in Dolphin Sands and Coles Bay, we've not been given that information by Tas Fire Service. I don't believe that information would be available to us.
But could you ask and then they would be able to tell you, clarify that, please?
Mr. Shaw or Mr. Sanderson, you might be able to. Mr. Shaw, are you able to offer any?
Through you, Madam Mayor, my experience working across state government, but then there would need to be a very strong reason and justification for it. Those communications would be confidential until further notice, and I would struggle to see the community benefit in that information being released.
I'm just making representation on
Yeah,
the community, what
yeah.
that request was.
I think I'm more than happy to take an email to the CEO's account in relation to that matter if the constituents you're representing today would like to provide further information. That might help me provide a more informed response.
My personal view, having been part in the and having been involved in the Municipal Emergency Management Group for a long time, is that it is not something that the Fire Service would release, because as the acting CEO has identified, quite a lot of those communications are confidential, particularly if there is an investigation involved.
And thank you. And with regard to Arnold Street, Swansea, would council consider making that one way, particularly where you've got the childcare centre? It's extremely narrow, and the children have got to use the back entrance onto Noyes Street. So I was wondering whether the council would consider making that one way and making a petition footpath along the side of the childcare centre so they can access Franklin Street, please.
It's something that the officers will need to look at.
Yeah.
I'll leave that with Mr. Shaw and or Mr. Sanderson. It has been like that ever since Swansea's been Swansea. So, and ever since the childcare centre's been there, I don't believe it's been an issue.
Well, not according to the parents of the children, anyway. I'll leave that with council administration. Thank you. and it's, this is a matter for state growth, but council may raise it with state growth or building Tasmania, whatever it's like to call it, on the corner of Wellington and Victoria Street. When people use their disability of scooters or elderly scooters, when they go across that section of the road, their vehicles are hitting the ground or the highway, making them rather unstable. I was wondering whether that could be mentioned to Building Tasmania to see whether that can be ameliorated for safe passage with people with mobility scooters, please.
Thank you, councillor Gregson. Bill?
Through Madam Mayor, thank you, councillor Gregson. Yeah, of course, very happy to, in relation to a lot of your questions around potential improvements for safety and amendments to our road architecture. More than happy to always take those on board and assess them on their merits. So yeah, I'd encourage you to send email myself and the Director of Works and Infrastructure with more information, and we can tackle each of those matters on their own merit.
Yeah, it's the main camp of the road. And my last question is, Wolf's Bay, Friends of Wolf's Bay, they were going to have a workshop here at council. Is there an indication when that date would be, please? Sure.
Yes, through Madam Mayor, councillor Gregson, Friends of Wolf's Bay did approach council over a number of weeks requesting the opportunity to present to a council workshop. They were offered that and it was locked into the agenda, and they chose to remove themselves from the agenda at short notice without reason.
Oh, thank you. And a very last question. It's probably Mr. Sanderson here. Has there been any consideration of signage on the corner of, once again, Arnold Street and Franklin Street with regard to it's just a blue sign saying men's shed and reuse shed? So they're very, very popular, and people find it hard to locate them up in Arnold Street. If there was a signage there, that would be really good on Franklin Street on that corner.
Councillor Gregson, thank you for your questions, but I think I've said this to you before. I appreciate why you asked the questions in this chamber, but many of your questions could have been answered and with a simple email to the acting CEO or to Mr. Sanderson. Other councillors in the room raised matters directly with the officers, particularly questions like you have, because they are basically and the officers can give you the response straight away.
Yeah. Well, I do ask those questions directly to the directors.
So can I ask you why you're raising them in this forum then?
Well, I've asked some of the directors off, and sometimes the people request me to ask in council, so it's noted in the minutes that I'm actually doing their job and being their representatives. So they find it very reassuring that I'm actually acting on their behalf.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's no further questions without notice. Agenda item 12 is the confidential closed session in accordance with the requirements of the Local Government Meeting Procedure Regulations 2025. As Mayor, I declare the meeting closed to the public in order to discuss the following matters. Item 1.1, request for leave of absence. 1.2, notification of leave of absence for parental leave. 2.1, minutes of closed session of the ordinary meeting held on Tuesday, the 28th of April. Agenda item 3.1, Co-Health Quarterly Report. 3.2, the 17-acre bridge, Wylington Road. And 3.3, appointment of the Chief Executive Officer. There is a recommendation on page 47. Councillor Walker.
Thank you. I'll move that council moves into closed session at 3:32.
Thank you. Seconded. Councillor Gregson. Thank you. 3:32. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, those against. Thank you. Councillors, please be aware that we are still live streaming. Ms. Clarkson will tell us when the live streaming has stopped.